Welcome back, Inebri-art. First off, I want to apologize if my voice sounds a little off. I'm just getting over a New Year's Eve cold. I had to cancel plans on New Year's Day for the first time in my life, not because of a hangover, just because I wasn't feeling well. So if you follow Inebri-art at all, you know that last year we did a hot sauce event down at Narragansett, Rhode Island. This year, we're bringing it back for the second annual Rhode Island Hot Sauce Expo. And maybe about a week ago, someone reached out to me, and it never even crossed my mind to bring in a celebrity hot sauce chili guest. But apparently, that's a thing. And so I'm like, why don't you come on the show and we can talk? Because that seems like an interesting thing. So today I'm joined by Mike Jack of Mike Jack Eats Heat.
Hey,
Welcome to the
how's it
show, man.
going?
Hey.
Hey, thanks for
Um,
having me.
yeah, no worries. So I am not unfamiliar with people who eat professionally, competitive eating, that kind of thing. I watch Beard Meets Food.
Oh
Um,
yeah, Beard Meats Food. Yeah, he's a cool
yeah.
guy.
Um, but the thing that I found most like, why on earth would you do it just spicy specific? Like, I mean, I was watching some of your episodes earlier today, and I'm just like, this just it's that weird like where people push themselves physically to the point where I'm like, I feel like you're just torturing yourself.
Well, it's like, I just I found something that I'm good at and I'm just rolling with that, I'm interested in competitive eating and stuff like that. Yeah, like Beard Meats Food does this thing, and there's a lot of different competitive eaters
Yeah,
do their thing. Like there's Joey Chestnut. He's with the Major League Eating, like winning all kinds of competitions with them, like eating hot dogs, breaking records, stuff like that. Some people do more speed eating stuff like Leah Shakiver, stuff like that.
yeah.
And yeah, I just kind of found my niche, the spicy stuff. So like I like I'm interested in the other stuff too, but there's a lot of people who are faster at eating or can eat more than I can. But when it comes to spicy stuff, like uh you know, I'm the best in the world, really. So
Yeah.
I kind of found my niche, rolling with that, and yeah, just doing it. Yeah, I kind of, like you said, it is a little bit like torturing yourself a little bit, I guess. It's in some people's eyes, but I see it as a challenge. Just trying to like fight through the pain, stuff like that. And yeah, I find it I find it interesting and kind of fun for me anyway. So, but yeah, yeah, that's just why I do it, I guess, just for the challenge. And yeah, just rolling with something I'm really good at.
Was heat like always a thing for you? 'Cause, I mean, I remember like it was interesting. Like growing up, I wanted to be a chef, but I never like really got into anything even remotely spicy until I was probably like guessing like probably like mid 20s when I was like, oh, buffalo wings kick ass.
Oh yeah.
And but even to this day, like I've eaten a Carolina Reaper as part of the podcast. It was no fun, which I'm sure saying to you, I mean, the video I saw, you ate 100 of them. So
Oh yeah.
what's
Yeah.
the most you've ever eaten?
I have the record for the most in one sitting. I ate 164.
Jeez.
I have the Guinness World Record for fastest time to eat 100.
Yeah.
Uh, and there's only three other people in the world who have ever eaten 100 Carolina Reapers, and they've all done it once. I've done it four times, eaten 100 or more.
Is there like a real like how dangerous is that? Like I've I've heard those kind of anecdotal stories like of a guy who knows a guy who knows a guy who worked with a
Yeah,
guy who got taken out in an emergency room in an ambulance in the emergency room because he ate it. Two Carolina Reapers at work, that kind of thing. Um, like, is there real danger to this?
it's all kind of relative, really, right? It's one of those things where people it feels like you're burning, right? But it actually doesn't burn you at all. There's no actual like physical damage being done to you or whatever. Like
Yeah.
if there was, I'd be long gone by now, right? Like I've been doing this for like 7 years now. I don't have any like health problems or anything from it, right? So
Not
and
even
all
like
the
acid
side,
reflux.
I don't have acid reflux. I don't
Yeah.
have, people are like, oh, it's gonna give you ulcers or it's gonna like mess up your throat, stuff like that. And if anything, like it's one of those things too where people like feel that it's dangerous. So whenever there's like one incident of somebody hurting themselves doing spicy stuff, it's big news, right? But
Yeah.
like if you think about it, like people die like downhill skiing,
Sure.
and
Yeah.
you know what I mean, or like people suffer worse injuries or whatever, boxing or MMA, stuff like that. But it's just like, I don't know, uh, people don't think twice about that stuff, right? Like, but it's like, oh, like there's the story about the guy who got the thunderclap headaches from, because he was doing some kind of spicy burger contest or something like that. And
I don't think I've
like,
heard that. Yeah.
yeah, you get headaches mainly from dehydration, right? So I'm just like, if he was sweating a lot, throwing up a lot, didn't really drink much that day, like it can happen. But it's like you only hear this happening to this one guy, and then it's like news like all over the place, right? So um, I wouldn't like I wouldn't recommend eating a lot of hot peppers and stuff like that if you have a heart condition, stuff like that, like
Yeah.
because it does like bring on a lot of anxiety and stuff like that, and it gets you pretty, amped up, hyped up. But at the same time, like I wouldn't go on a roller coaster if you have a heart condition either, right? So it's like, if you're trying to like compare how dangerous it is, like there's a lot of things that are just as dangerous or not as dangerous or more dangerous. I mean that people don't even think twice about it, really. So
Yeah. Yeah. It was in my one experience with the Carolina Reaper. Um, it was hot. Like
yeah.
I think I was expecting it to be worse. Initially I like super hit panic mode because I went to breathe in and I couldn't, like my body wouldn't let that happen. And I'm like,
Hmm.
oh, like that's a real problem.
Yeah.
But that went away quickly. And then like, once you kind of got over how hot it was, like I got the endorphin rush and I'm like, oh, I get why people do this. Um, and then I was in tremendous pain within like I'd probably say probably maybe like 2 hours later. I got like a really, really brutal, like sharp pain in my stomach.
Oh yeah.
It made me throw up, and then like I was fine, but I was just like, I am not ever planning on doing it again. But like it wasn't. I've had a lot worse experiences in my life, and I've even had like worse eating experiences. Um, just it's like I get it. I get why people do it, and I get why like you get that friend that that friendly competition kind of fun thing, and then you're like, oh, I can eat more of these than my friend can. I eat more than this random stranger, and a lot of people have asked us, are we going to do like pepper eating challenges at the hot sauce event because we're starting to like do them more often. And everyone I talk to, they're like, all you do is end up cleaning up vomit because it's people who
Nah.
want to
Yeah,
like
definitely
show off. And I'm like, yeah, I don't know if I want to do that. So
definitely get people buckets for sure
yeah.
if you're doing the thing. Yeah. Yeah, I've been to, I've seen some competitions where people don't give the contestants buckets, and yeah, it's kind of a mess. But yeah, if everybody's got like a little bucket, a pail beside them, they're pretty likely to pick that up and go in there instead of, getting spew all over your tables and stuff like that.
Does this like, I mean, do you normally just on a day-to-day basis go after spicy food? Like, so we mentioned Beard meets food, and he does these giant food challenges. But then, like, if you hear him talk, he's like, "Oh, on like a day I'm not doing this," he's like, "I just eat like salad or yogurt or like." Do you
Yeah.
have like a very like bland or dull diet on or are you always like spice all the time?
I'm always eating some spicy stuff. Like not I'm not eating 100 Carolina Reaper peppers like every day, or
Yeah,
not even every month or whatever. But yeah, I'm always having some hot sauce on my food most of the time. Yeah, I'll usually have something spicy. Yeah, like two or three times a day, pretty much. So always into the hot sauce and stuff like that. But yeah, like the challenges and stuff, like I only do like usually only like I don't know, like maybe like two or three a month sort of thing. So
yeah,
um yeah, it depends on the time of year too. Like when it's pepper season, like this last pepper season, I was doing stuff almost every weekend, eating like a crazy amount of peppers and stuff like that. But right now, yeah, for the last couple months, there's not really a lot of peppers around, so not doing too many challenges and stuff like that. But yeah, getting ready to amp it up again in the new year for sure.
yeah. And I even saw that you did the most of the one chip challenge. Is
Oh
that
yeah, I did that too. Yeah, I
yeah?
ate. Yeah, I have the record for eating the most in one sitting. I ate 71 of them.
Jeez. Yeah, I mean, do people send these things to you and like that was one that I remember got like I don't even say really big. It got to the point where I was seeing them everywhere, and then like there was some sort of like controversy about them, and then
There was, yeah.
then people started pulling them off the shelf. And but do you like seek these things out? Do people send them to you? Do you get like links for
Um,
the world's hottest insert food thing here?
yeah, people send me stuff all the time. Like a lot of like hot sauce companies will send me their hot sauce. They want me to, put photos on my socials and stuff like that. Try out their hot sauces and things like that. The challenges. Sometimes people, companies will send me like one of their challenge and stuff like that, and usually it's not really much of a challenge for me. But yeah,
Yeah,
for the one chip challenges, I think the like I did a challenges, over the years trying to eat as many as I can. Like the one year, I think the first year I did it, I had a little fundraiser thing for so people were like kind of buying them and sending them to me sort of thing. But and that one it was like one of my biggest videos on YouTube. I got like almost 2 million views from that one. So I was like, okay, like next year I'm gonna go even bigger. So I bought a whole bunch of them, and then of course that video didn't go as crazy as
yeah,
the
yeah,
as the one before, because that's how things work out. But yeah, yeah, for the one chip challenge, like yeah, I've put a decent amount of money into it. Gotten like you know some I don't think I made my money back on those, but I made some
yeah.
cool videos and broke some records and stuff like that eating them. So yeah, that's pretty cool. Yeah, and a lot of some of the stuff I do now, like if I do it like at a festival or whatever, the festival will pay to get the
Sure.
challenge products and stuff for me.
Yeah.
So that works out too. But yeah, I've put a lot of money into it myself too, just buying a lot of challenges and stuff like that.
And at what point were you like, oh, I'm gonna like did the YouTube channel come at the same time? Like, was that always part of it where you're like, oh, I'm gonna film myself doing these things and put it online, or were like you doing it naturally and then we're like, oh, I'm should put this online?
Kind of, yeah, kind of both in a way, I guess. Like I started like I guess you were asking me before how it all started. Like as a kid, I wasn't really into spicy stuff or anything, and then yeah, it was more like when I got into college and I had roommates and they were into just basic hot sauces, stuff like that, like Frank's and sriracha was just starting to get big at the time,
Yeah.
Tabasco, whatever, just stuff like that. And they were just almost like a dairy, like, oh, what's the matter, Mike? Like you don't want any hot sauce on your pizza? Are you chicken or something? So I tried hot sauce then and started liking it. I'd use more and more in my food, and I got pretty into it. And eventually it would be like, there'd be almost more hot sauce than food on my plate. So I'd have to go and like, at the time, you'd have to go and like search for hotter sauces. Like now there's just so many awesome like craft makers out there, but I really had to look for hotter and hotter sauces. And kind of just find a hotter sauce, just start with a couple dots on my food. Eventually I was using it like, ketchup, and
Yeah.
then try to find like a hotter sauce. And Eventually, like a friend told me, a work friend told me about Smoking Ed Curry and Pucker Butt Pepper Company, Carolina
Yep.
Reapers, and so I got some of his sauce for the first time, and yeah, like I said, just started a couple dots on my food, and then I was just pouring it on, and then one of my buddies was like, "Oh, Mike, like you're pretty crazy with the hot sauce. Like, there's people on YouTube who are eating peppers and stuff like that. Like, you should give it a try. I'd probably be pretty good at it." So, yeah, I started my YouTube channel, Mike Jack Eats Heat, and yeah, I started just eating with one of my buddies. We each ate a dried Carolina Reaper pepper. That was my first ever time eating a pepper, and I did pretty good. He didn't do so well, and I was like, I think I can eat more. So then just made more and more videos, eat more and more peppers, stuff like that. And then eventually, I was like, well, what's like the most like peppers anybody's ever eaten? I'm like, at the time, I'm like, scouring YouTube trying to find, and I found somebody in Australia who had eaten. I think they had eaten like at a festival. They ate something like 26 Carolina Reapers or something like that, and I was like, I'm going to eat 30 fresh ones. So I set up a charity event at a local brewery, and I ate 30 of them, and I was like, wow. And people were like, is that like a Guinness World Record? And I was like, I don't even know. So I started looking up Guinness World Records and stuff like that. I'd seen like LA Beast, like he had a Guinness record for eating ghost peppers and stuff like that. So and I was like, okay, I'm gonna try to find. Honestly, I was like, what's the easiest one? And I'm gonna try to break that one. So I set up another event at the pub there, and I broke my first Guinness record. It was fastest time to eat 3 ghost peppers,
Yeah.
and I did it. My first, and like my
What is
first
the
try.
what is the fastest time for that?
It was like I can't quite remember, but it was under 10 seconds. It was
Oh
like
wow.
not
Okay.
sure if it was like 8 something or 9 something, but anyway, so I broke the record. And then yeah, then I just started breaking more and more Guinness records. I've broken 18 Guinness records altogether now.
Wow.
There's a few of them on my wall
Like
behind me,
yeah, right over your shoulder.
there, yeah. And yeah, it just kind of blew up from there. I've been on a
What
bunch
it
of sorry.
what's the process for doing like being actually a Guinness World? Like I'm sure it's just not like, oh, my buddy saw me do it. Like how do you
Yeah,
go through the process of it being official?
there's a few different ways you can do it. I guess the way I usually do it is the cheap, the like free way, basically, right? Because you can pay to get like an adjudicator to come to you,
Yeah.
but that it costs quite a bit of money, and I don't want to do that. You can also I've broken some by I don't know if anybody can do this or if I just got to do it because I broke a bunch, but you can go to like a Guinness World Records headquarters. I'd
Yeah.
seen like LA Beast do it in one of his videos, but I guess they closed their office in like New York. But I've been to their head office in the UK. I've broken a bunch of records there. But the free way to do it basically is you got to go. It's to do it the first time. Like to be honest, it was a pretty lengthy process. But then after doing a few, they like my videos, and so they kind of give me a bit of priority and stuff like
Yeah.
that. So the first time I did it, it's like every time I do it, you got to sign up online. Like you go online, you sign up for an account, whatever, and then you have to like what's it called? You have to like put in an application to do the record, and then they have to approve it, and that process takes for most people about like 3 months for them to like go through and like see your application and be like, okay, like you can looks like you have this like looks like you're going to do this properly and stuff like that. And
Right.
then you have to do once you're actually doing the record, you have to do a few things. So you have to film it, obviously, so people can see. You have to have two qualified independent witnesses, and they have to have like specific job titles, so they can be a government official or a lawyer, an accountant, or a police officer. So
Okay.
you have to have two of those people come and watch and fill out paperwork and read the rules, make sure you're following all this everything properly. You also have to have two experienced timekeepers, and they have to have certain qualifications too. Like they can be either a timekeeper, a coach, a referee, official, gym teacher, something like that in any kind of league, like major, minor, youth league.
Hmm.
So you have to have two of them, like with the timers, time you, and
Yeah.
then fill out the paperwork too. You have to have like photos. You have to have a slow motion of the video. And then I think that's pretty much it. And then you got to get all that stuff together and send it in. And then the first time I did it, I sent everything in, and it was almost a year before I heard back from the first one. I'd actually broken the first one and then broken a second one, and was waiting. And I heard from back from both of them at the same time, sort of thing.
Yeah.
So it's like, to be honest, like it says on their website, it'll take like 3 months to hear back, and I was like, it's been like 9 months. I haven't heard back. Like, I don't know if I'm ever gonna get a Guinness record, even though I've broken these things. So I pretty much given up hope, to be honest. And then I finally heard back, and I was like, all right, now I'm gonna go break some more. So,
And then kind of like once you
and
get that ball rolling, they know your name, kind of like, oh, we know
yeah,
this guy, and
pretty much, yeah. Like
yeah.
after I had broken a few, I got a message from somebody there, and they're like, "Oh, like you broke these records, and we're like your videos and stuff like that, and like we want more. Like, can you do more?" And at the time, I was like, "Well, I have to wait till it's like pepper season, so I can't really do much now." And it was like around, yeah, it was like COVID times too, I guess, right? So, but they were like, well, like while you're waiting, like, is there any other stuff you want to do besides pepper eating? So I was like, I don't know, like I could try some other food stuff. So they ended up like one of the things I thought was interesting is I'm vegan as well. So
Okay.
they were like, oh, like a vegan speed eater, like that's interesting. Like try to break some of these records. So we talked about a bunch of records and stuff like that, and I looked through and tried to find ones I thought I could break. So I think I broke four records. It was like fastest time to eat a head of lettuce. It was most almonds eaten in a minute. What were the other ones? It was fastest time to eat a banana without using your hands, which
Okay.
was which was a pretty funny one. You have to peel the banana like without your hands and stuff like that. And then fastest time to drink a liter of tomato sauce. So I broke those four records, and then they did like a video about me. They put on their socials, about Mike Jack, the vegan speed eater, stuff like that. So that was kind of neat having like a feature video like that.
Yeah.
And then yeah, but the thing with those records is like I said, like there's other people who are faster than me at stuff like that. So they've all been broken. It's more the pepper eating ones that are people have difficulty or
Yeah, because
they don't even want to try. Like most people don't even want to try eating
yeah, some
Carolina Reapers, right? So
even those kind of like professional eaters I've seen, with either buffalo wing challenges or any challenge that has some sort of hot component. They're like, oh,
yeah,
and either they fail because of the heat, and that's it's a total. It seems like it's a total different genre, and the fact that you're vegan, that's
yeah,
just so interesting. Because I mean, that's got to be like a lot of those eating challenges that you wouldn't even be able to take part in as a vegan. Is
yeah, for sure.
is all hot sauce vegan?
Most of it is, yeah. Some of
Yeah.
them, there's a few of them that have like honey in them. There's a few
Okay.
that have
Sure.
had like kind of weird things, like there's some that have like anchovies in it, or in like the what is it? What's the sauce that has the anchovy in it? Is it
Worcestershire.
or yeah, some of them
Yeah.
have that in it, but it's like pretty, few and far between. So yeah, most of them are vegan friendly for sure.
Yeah. Interesting. Yeah, we just one of the other things we do, because in my company we run all sorts of events, and we're just always trying to come up with new and interesting things. And so last year we did a horror convention for like horror movies,
Oh yeah, yeah.
and so then we did the hot sauce event. And for the first horror convention, a buddy of mine who's a local chef made a um it was a hot sauce. He called it Sam Hain sauce, and he made it with activated charcoal, so it was like pitch black, and
Oh
it was
yeah.
really good. So then the following year, we he had stopped doing kind of the ferment. He was doing like kimchi and fermented hot sauces and anything fermented. And he kind of got sidetracked. He got a full time position as a head chef somewhere. And so another friend of mine who runs Satanic Hot Sauce, which is Salem, Mass's only hot sauce companies.
Oh
He's like,
yeah.
"Oh, you're gonna do the exclusive hot sauce again?" And I'm like, "Oh, I hadn't really thought about it." He's like, "Why don't we, do it together and you come up and you make it with us." And so it's super fun, and it sold out. So we just made another batch, so it'll be at our event. But it's I do like the heat, but it's like I don't know, like I'm best at like around the 5 to 6 out of 10 scale. Like
Oh yeah.
I'm not the gung ho like burn my face off. What is your go to hot sauce?
Oh, there's just so many to be honest. Like it's I get sent so many sauces. It's really rare that I have the same hot sauce twice, to be honest. Like
Yeah.
a bottle of the same sauce, but yeah, like there's like a bunch of my some of my faves like ones you can get in the US there. I really like Torchbearer hot sauces. They're out
Yeah.
of Pennsylvania.
Okay.
They've had some sauces on on hot ones a few times. They have the zombie apocalypse sauce is a good one,
Okay.
or they have one. My favorite one is called Reaper Garlic, and it's
Okay.
it's what it sounds like. It's like super hot, like Reaper's really strong garlic flavor.
Yeah.
It's really creamy sauce. I love that. For like the really hot sauces, I like Hellfire hot sauces.
Okay.
They're in Wisconsin. Yeah, they make a few different really hot ones. My favorite one is called Fear This. It's a Reaper sauce.
Yeah.
They have one Fiery Fool. I think both of those have been on a Hot One show before. And then there's so many great Canadian sauces. I like Dawson's hot sauce, who I actually collaborate with on 3 different hot sauces.
Oh, you have your own?
Yeah, I've got my own hot sauces.
Oh,
Yeah.
cool. Cool.
So yeah, you can if you're interested, or your audience is interested, you go to MikeJackEatsEat.com. You can pick them up there. Or there's lots of hot sauce shops in the U.S. and Canada that sell them as well. So I've got 3 different sauces. So my mildest one is called Taco Tuesday. Tastes
Okay.
just like a taco in a bottle.
Nice.
Um, it's a milder one. It's jalapenos for heat. It's got lime, garlic, a little bit of tequila in there,
Oh,
and
very cool. Oh,
yeah, great on.
that's so when you put now I'm curious. So when you put tequila in the hot sauce, it is there like I don't want to say concern. Is there a legal standpoint of like can you buy it if like you're under 21? Is it
Yeah, you can still buy. Yeah,
okay?
in the cooking process, it burns off all
Oh,
the
burns. Oh,
alcohol
sure.
and
Yeah,
stuff,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
So
Okay, that makes
it's
sense.
not really. Yeah, it's not really like maybe like a really small percentage. I don't really
Yeah,
know for sure, but yeah, it's not like loaded with tequila either. It's got one of the lower ingredients on the list, just
yeah,
like a hint of the flavor or whatever. But yeah, it's obviously great on Mexican cuisine or anything you want to make taste like a taco. I like taco pizza, taco burgers, stuff like that.
sure.
And then my next hottest one, it's called Rise and Shine. It's my best seller. It's very unique hot sauce. It's trying to make the perfect hot sauce for breakfast.
I'm assuming that's where you were going with that. Sure. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's
What's
got like
what's the
so
pepper of choice?
yeah, so it's got like habaneros for heat.
Okay.
So kind of mid range for chili heads, I'd say. But yeah, it's got a unique flavor. It's like a breakfast sausage spice blend to it. So like the same kind of spices like the sage and fennel
Yeah.
stuff like that. It also has like maple syrup. Being
Oh, okay.
from
Sure.
Canada, you gotta have the maple syrup for breakfast, right?
Yeah.
And yeah, it's got a few other things in it. It's got like black salt, which has a little bit of an eggy taste to it.
Oh,
And
okay.
then nutritional yeast, which is gives it like a cheesy texture. So it really tastes like a breakfast sandwich kind of, which makes it really unique, like a breakfast sausage really. And
And
yeah,
on a scale of I was gonna say on a scale of 1 to 10, how do you judge it? On a scale of 1 to 10, how does a normal person judge it?
Like on the heat scale on the
Yeah, yeah.
bottom is kind of made for the average person. It's like a 7 out of 10 for heat. So
Okay, okay.
yeah. So most the average person like I sell it at like a farmers market, local farmers market and stuff. So people who trying it it's a real wide range of reactions, right? But usually the people who, are into like craft hot sauces, they don't think it's really like too hot, but
Yeah.
uh they enjoy the flavor, stuff like that. But people who are maybe into milder stuff like, the Franks or Tabasco and stuff, it's usually like pretty hot for those guys.
Yeah, I think
Um,
my favorite reaction is when you're like, oh, it's like about a 6.5 out of 10, and they taste it and they go, yeah, it's not really that hot, and then they kind of go, and then they
yeah.
make that like, I'm like, all right, just like you can tell it's hot, but they're not like to me that's kind of like the right amount of heat where
Yeah.
they're definitely feeling it, but it's not
And
brutal.
then my hottest sauce, it's the first sauce I came out with. It's called Tropical Fury,
Okay.
and it's got ghost pepper and habanero in it. And the main ingredient though is pineapple. So it starts out really sweet, and
Yeah.
then it's got like a kind of a creeping building heat to it. So I really like using that one on on like wings or stir fry or on pizza because I'm one of those guys that likes the pineapple pizza. So
Sure. Yeah.
yeah. And
That's
those are my
awesome.
three sauces. We're gonna planning to come out with a couple more. One on the extreme side of heat, and then another one on the really mild side of heat. I find the people at the farmers market that I go to, here in Nova Scotia, they're not used to that much heat. So even my Taco Tuesday is like pretty hot for some of the people here. So I'm gonna go for like an even milder one eventually, and
Yeah.
yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, and it's so interesting. Like I said, I've liked hot food for a long time. I wouldn't say I wouldn't call myself a chili head, but I do like hot sauce and hot food. And then we ran the hot sauce event last year, and I was basically brainstorming with the brewery that we worked with, and for like new event ideas. And I'm like, oh well, there's a National Hot Sauce Day in January. I'm like, why don't we do like a hot sauce? And it was overwhelmingly a huge success.
That's
Um,
awesome.
we had sauces that wanted to take part that we literally didn't have space, and they're like, "Can we send you hot sauce?" And I'm like, "Yeah, sure." So like we had sauces that weren't there, that like they physically weren't there, but they were still represented. Um, and it kind of stayed open. I always knew that the craft hot sauce thing was around, but it was so much fun to kind of like go around and it's like a segment of people that you're like, oh, I mean, I guess I knew they existed, but I didn't really think much about it. And they're a good bunch of people, and um, and you try the difference. And the one that killed me was his name's Kamal. He runs Hillside Harvest Hot Sauce, which they're based out of Massachusetts here, and I think they got I don't know how you get named the official hot sauce, but they're like the official hot sauce of the Red Sox.
Oh yeah,
Um,
that's cool.
and he he's like, "Oh, I got a new one. It's a carrot hot sauce." And in my brain, I'm like, "Oh, that should probably be on the sweeter side." Oh, it was brutal. Like at the
Yeah,
point I kept walking by, man. I'm like, I'm still tasting, and it was a lot of fun. But by the end of the day, like my taste buds were fried, and it was like I'm really looking forward to this year. It's just like a whole thing that I hadn't really thought about. It's so much fun, and I'm a big foodie in general, so it's just like a whole nother aspect of that. And is there like, are you currently working on? I don't, do you work on? Do you plan? I suppose plan. Are you planning on breaking another Guinness record? Like, is there something that you have kind of in mind?
oh yeah, for sure. I'm always wanting to break some Guinness records. Yeah, like one thing I'm really excited about is when there's the Pepper X, the new world's hottest pepper. Like once that becomes available to the public and stuff like that, and I can
Yeah.
get my hands on some. I'd definitely like to break some records with that one, whether it's creating new records or if there's some records created with that pepper, I'd like to do some stuff with that. I've had some of my Guinness records have been broken for some of the smaller quantities of peppers, like eating three ghost peppers or three Carolina Reaper peppers or
Yeah.
stuff like that, or even the most Carolina Reaper peppers in a minute. There's pretty tough. It's a pretty tough record to beat because so many people have tried it at the Steve Seabury hot sauce expos
Yeah.
in the U.S. there. So I'd really like to try that one. I need to get a bit faster to do that. I think I'm getting closer all the time though. So been practicing speed. That's one of my New Year's resolutions, I guess, is to try to get even faster. I was over the last couple of years I've been working more on quantity than speed. So now it's time to get back into the speed game and try to get them down as fast as I can. So yeah, those are a few of them I'd really like to try for Guinness records for sure.
Now, is there when you're working on your content, do you have other ideas other than just kind of like the record breaking stuff? Like I'm just trying to like pick an idea. Like do you like would you ever do like hey, I'm doing a hot a pepper cookbook? Like do you have like those kind of other things like in mind?
Yeah, I've thought about making a cookbook for sure, doing some kind of like cooking type videos, stuff like that. Yeah, I'm working on a few different things. But yeah, I got ideas like that kind of on the back burner in my head, sort of thing. So um, yeah, definitely, I'd like to expand into a bunch of different things. I wanted to make more like it seems like people do really well with like kind of comedy content and stuff like that. I'd like to do more content where it's funny stuff or people
Yeah.
getting to know me as a person a little bit better, I guess too. Like
Yeah, yeah.
a lot of my videos, it's just me like not really talking too much, just kind of pounding peppers and stuff like that. So
Which I can't
um,
imagine you can't talk much while you do.
yeah. But yeah, I've just it's been just over a year that I've been doing this like full time now. So I kind of got working on my social media stuff a lot. Last year I like I built my Facebook up over the last year from I think it was I'm not even sure where I started in 2024. It was like something like three or 5,000 followers, and I'm up to like 35,000
Oh
followers,
wow.
like just
Yeah.
over in just over a year. So yeah, because it's hard to like it's tough like working a full time job and all your other responsibilities and trying to be a
Yeah.
creator at the same time. So I'm fortunate enough that I've gotten to the point where I can do it as a full time career now. Like I said, like I'm doing other things, but it's all related to this thing. Like I'm selling hot sauce at a farmer's market now, doing a bunch of shows like that.
Hmm.
But yeah, I kind of expanding on traveling around to different places. So getting paid from festivals to go and break records there and stuff like that. So yeah, it's yeah,
Yeah, I mean, and
a
that's
few
kind of
different
how
avenues
like
of income. Yeah.
that's how we kind of got connected and like I said it had never occurred to me that that would be a thing. So like I never like figured in the budget be like, "Oh, like we got to fly this guy in blah blah." And yeah, so I mean, I think it's a really fascinating idea and it's like we have the events that we run and then we have like the podcast. We make them because we enjoy them. We enjoy
Oh yeah,
doing
for
them.
sure.
And like we have one of our podcasts is called Bar Talk, and we started a YouTube version of it called Bar Talk Day Drinking, and it's super fun to make and it's really funny, but it's just one of those. It's kind of always on the back burner because you're just like, well, it's really expensive to do, and it's not really turning a profit. So it's like you can only do it so often, and So kudos to you for like actually
Thanks,
getting to
man.
that
Yeah.
point. That's awesome. Um, you know, you should challenge some of the Leafs to a eating.
Oh yeah.
You know,
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. I wish I was as I wish I was as good at hockey as I am at eating peppers because I'd be a multimillionaire, right? So
yeah. Um, yeah. How are the Leafs doing this year? You know,
they're
I'm a huge Bruins fan,
oh yeah,
and we've
they're
been
the
so
bad
good.
guys. They're the bad guys in
In most of
Leafs
Canada.
history anyway,
Yeah.
recent Leafs history for sure.
Yeah. Oh yeah, 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 yeah. There was that game a few years ago. I don't mean to rub salt in the wound because it was great
Yeah,
for here.
yeah.
Yeah, I know. I can see that.
Yeah, it's
Um,
having a yeah a few times in the playoffs, right? It's like the Leafs always end up going against the Bruins like first round or
yeah,
recently it's been or like even Tampa or like Florida or whatever. But yeah, it's a tough division, the Atlantic Division, but the Leafs are like they're on top of it now. I think they're either leading it or they're tied with Florida or they're kind of going back and forth, but
yeah,
they're having a good season. But Leafs fans right now, they don't even care about regular season. It's the playoffs, right? So, they've just won, since they've won one playoff series since like 2006, something like that.
oh
So,
wow, yeah,
but yeah, it's I got into them in the '90s when they weren't winning cups, but they were at least getting to like the Final Four sort of thing.
well, that would have been like when you guys hit Felix Potvin was the goalie, right?
Oh yeah, Felix Potvin,
Yeah,
yeah,
he was great. Yeah,
Felix Potvin for a couple of years. They got to the Final Four, and then later on it was Chris Joseph and Ed Belfour
oh sure, yeah,
sort
yeah,
of
yeah, yeah,
thing. They had
yep,
them like later in their careers, but yeah, and then they didn't have a good goalie for a long like many years
yeah.
after that.
It,
Really,
this year I was like, all right, I've built the business enough. I'm gonna try to catch some games this year, and the Bruins have just sucked. And I'm just like, maybe next year. I'll pay
yeah,
attention next year. So
it's a
it's
rough year for the Bruins for sure. Yeah,
yeah, and it just kind of like makes no sense. And but whatever. I mean, it's
it's
living
kind
around
of
here, it's like sports 24/7. So sometimes it's
yeah,
just overload in general.
it's just kind of caught up to them. Like for years, like I was just like, oh, the Bruins they're getting older, they're gonna, but then they're still winning, and then yeah, they're like, Bergeron retires, and you're like, okay, now they're gonna take a step back, but
Yeah.
it's finally, I think what it like this year, it seems like they had to do it, but they're trading like Linus Allmark, and then
Yep.
Swayman hasn't like been as good as he's been like the last year or two, so I think that kind of gave him a little dip, but I don't know. They're starting to. They were like near the bottom of the league for a little bit there, but they've crawled back up in a playoff spot. I think they're like third in the division now or something like that. So
They don't often
they're
miss
not looking too bad
playoffs.
right
Yeah.
now. Yeah,
And honestly, I hate I absolutely hate when they're like in a good position going in the playoffs because I'm like they won't do well. They're not going to do well. They never do well. But
yeah,
they get I like the middle of the road. That's in like what was it 2 years ago when
yeah. 2 years ago
they were just like unbelievable and I'm
they
like
like
they'll
broke a record or something for
yeah for like the most
yeah,
and as soon as I heard that I'm like they're going to be out in the first round and everyone's like oh well I'm like I'm telling you right now they're going to be out in the first round and they
yeah.
absolutely were. Um, but
And then the Leafs fans got a little curse there because yeah, that was the year that they finally got out of the first round. They beat Tampa Bay,
yeah,
and then they're like, oh, like Boston has been doing so well, they're going out, and there's a whole like the chant the Leafs fans were doing during the game. They're like, we want Florida, we want, Florida. And of course they got Florida, and it
and Florida
didn't work
was
out for them
yeah
that either. So yeah, that was when Florida really broke out there that year, and then they won the cup the next year. So yeah, still doing good this year. But yeah, it's the Leafs are having a really good season. I think they're like sixth in the league or something like that. So
nice
even though they're top of the division, there's some some teams in the
Yeah,
West doing really well, but
when we were talking the other day, you're like, oh, well, the Leafs and Islanders games is on this time, and I'm like, oh, I wonder how, because I've been so out of the loop. I'm like, oh, I wonder how the Leafs are doing, and I looked, I'm like, oh, they're actually doing pretty well. Damn. So
yeah.
yeah, um, yeah. So we're kind of coming up on the end. So I know you mentioned where you get your hot sauce, which I'm definitely gonna have to check out. Where else can people find like your socials and like what else you got going on? And
Oh yeah, MikeJackie'sHeat.com. That's my website. That's where you can get my hot sauce and stuff like that. Mike Jack Eats Eat on all the social media platforms, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok. I've got a video coming out every day. So sometimes it's a blast from the past, sometimes it's something new, but it's always me eating something spicy, stuff like that, or a few other like competitive eating things. But yeah, mostly the spicy stuff like that. So yeah, that's the best places to check me out, I guess.
how how is TikTok going for you guys up there? Because like
Oh, because yeah, in
yeah,
this
they're talking about what I think in like 14 days they're talking. I don't think it's actually gonna. I think they're gonna backtrack the last minute, but
yeah, there's been I don't know rumors about it here too and stuff like that, but I don't think anything really too serious. I don't know. Like yeah, I hear more stuff about it coming out of the US than in Canada, but yeah, I don't really know.
yeah, I was just wondering
Yeah.
if you'd seen any impact on your numbers or anything.
I haven't really like when I was trying to prioritize stuff a bit. I wasn't doing a whole lot on TikTok. I just started getting back into it maybe I'm not sure, maybe like 4 months ago or something like that. So my TikTok's growing. Recently I had my first video get over 1 million views.
Oh wow,
So I had it's like I think it's up to like 1.1 million views now for my Guinness record for fast time to eat 100 Carolina Reaper peppers. So that one did really well. But I'm still getting some videos are only getting like like 400 or 500 views, stuff like that. But it's growing. I'm getting more followers every day. I think I'm up to like 26,000 something like that. So
wow.
a decent amount. Not I'd like to have a lot more, but
Yeah, I
it's
mean that's
I
well more
gotta
than
I
what we got.
gotta
So
yeah, I
yeah,
gotta be thankful for what I got, right? So
sure.
it's pretty good. But yeah, I got yeah, it used to be, my worst platform used to be Facebook, but I really worked on it a lot this year and now it's my most popular platform. Uh slowly getting better on YouTube as well. I took a bunch of time off of that as well when I was trying to prioritize. So yeah, I
Yeah,
guess it was a couple of years ago. I was trying to instead of working so much on social media stuff like that, I was trying to just practice on my own, get better at my craft, better at the building up a tolerance and getting faster and getting being able to eat a lot of peppers and stuff like that. And so yeah, I'm glad that I did because at the time I wasn't the best in the world, and now I'm the reigning 4-time world champ of hot pepper eating. That's my over on this side. That's my
oh, that's
world
what that
belt right
belt is.
there.
Yeah,
That's my
nice.
world belt for yeah. So yeah,
How
doing
often
stuff.
do you have to defend that? Is like an annual thing or?
It's been like twice a year for the last little bit. So I was the 2-time America's champ before that. So
Yeah.
I won the America's championship first time in Ottawa a few years ago, and then in Dallas, Texas, and then in 2023 I won the belt for the first time in New Zealand.
Oh
I went to,
wow,
so
nice.
as the America's champ, I went and took on the champ there from the Oceanic champ from Australia.
Yeah,
So it was kind of a bucket list trip for me too. I've always wanted to go to New Zealand. It was kind of number one on my list.
yeah,
It's a
that's gotta
pretty
be so
awesome
cool.
place. So we got to take some time there and travel around and see a lot of things. So it was pretty cool. And then and then in 2023 I also went to Prague, Czech Republic, and defended it against the European champ. He's from Italy.
Yeah.
Then last year I went to the UK and won the won it for the third time or defended it again against kind of like an up and comer from the US.
Yeah.
And then yeah, and then I defended it for the fourth time just what was it, 2 or 3 months ago, and that was in Sofia, Bulgaria,
Oh, that's
which was
awesome.
special for me because my grandpa was actually from Bulgaria, so
Nice.
never been there, but it was cool kind of seeing where my grandpa grew up and stuff like that. And that again was from the European champ. His name's Giancarlo Gasparotto. He's from Italy, and the only person who he's never lost except to me twice now. So
Oh, wow. Yeah,
that's pretty cool. Yeah, him and
I
I
think
are got a little, we're friendly, but we got a little bit of competitive rivalry, I guess. So it's pretty neat.
yeah. Well, I think anytime someone takes their kind of unconventional hobby and turns it into their living and gets to see the world doing it, I think that's to me that's the dream. Like
Yeah, for sure.
that's
It's
amazing. So
I feel very fortunate. Yeah, for sure. Because yeah, I know not everybody gets to be there, and it just kind of I'm not gonna lie, it was a lot of work. I've been doing it for a long time, but it's just yeah, I just never when I started, I never thought it would get to this. Like I was always trying to be on top, and I never, it's like when I was a kid and you're looking at the Guinness record books, right? And you're like, wow, this is like so crazy. And then to actually like be in a bunch of them now and
yeah,
like stuff like that, like it was a real kind of humbling or just kind of mind-blowing experience. A couple of years ago I got to be on the Guinness World Records TV show that's in Milan, Italy. Like it's the Italian show,
oh, cool.
like in Italian language and stuff like that.
Yeah,
So, but just going there and just they put you up in like a kind of hotel situation, and it's like all the other record breakers are there. So you go down for like lunch, and there's all kinds of like people with interesting talents or stuff like that, and just getting to talk to them and meeting people backstage and just being like, wow, like these people do such crazy things, but then they're just like, wow, like you eat that many peppers and stuff like that, and it's just kind of like I'm kind of like, I don't know, like these guys are balancing on their heads, and just there's a guy who's like hammering nails into a wall with his head, and there's a kid doing these crazy basketball tricks, and I'm just like, whoa, you guys, I'm just eating peppers, like you guys are doing like crazy things, right? And they're like, no, like what you do is like crazy. And I had a really great conversation about like pain management with this guy who does kind of more like sideshow things. And
sure, yeah,
his trick on the show, or his record that he did, was he was pulling a car with it was like he had I think they were shark hooks on his like orbital bone, and he was walking backwards like this, pulling a classic
yeah.
car. And what I always think, like, because I've been there too, but what I always think is amazing is when like the first time he tried it, I'm watching from backstage, he like messed up and he went on like a weird angle, and he didn't pull the car far enough by the time he like hit like a wall on the side. So he messed up and he stopped, and his eyes are just bruised underneath, and he's just like
Oh,
tears, and he's just like, just exhausted. And he tried again, and he did it the
oh,
second time.
that's crazy.
And just when people do like on the show, they, I watched the episode, and they didn't even show the first time. They just made it look like he did it his first try. But being able to like, try it the one time and just exerting that much energy and just, going through all that, and then just having the mindset to be like, I'm doing it again, like right now. That's just like very impressive in my eyes. Like when people do stuff like that, like it's pretty crazy. So
Yeah, that's
yeah.
amazing. Cool, man. Well, I suggest all our listeners go check out your website, and I just want to say thanks for taking the time to talk to us. Hopefully, we'll get you down here maybe next year.
Yeah, for sure.
At our event, and yeah, it's been interesting, man. It's you're the first. Yeah, you're the first professional eater we've ever had on in some
Oh, awesome. What
420
an
years.
honor.
Yeah,
Thank you.
so thank you so much. And to our listeners, you guys can check us back. We'll be back again next week, and we'll see you guys then.
All right, cool.
And thanks for checking out the show today, listeners. If you enjoyed the content today, you can go over to patreon.com/Inebri-art to support the show. You can join over there for just a few dollars a month and help us provide this fun content that you just checked out. You can also email us at Inebri-art.com with your questions, complaints, and concerns, or you can find us on all social medias at Inebri-art or at Inebri-art6 on Instagram. And also don't forget to check out our other shows, Bar Talk Podcast, Old Colony Cast, Inebri-art, and all the other shows on the Inebri-art Network, which you can find at Inebri-art.com. Thanks again for listening.